This regular meeting of the Detroit Lake City Council is called to order, and at this time, I'd like to invite all of you to please stand and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The minutes of the regular City Council meeting held September 11th, 2018, and a special City Council meeting held September 20th, 2018 are before the council. Is there anyone in the council or any member of the audience who wishes to change or add anything to the minutes as they are printed? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion for their approval.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes of the regular council meeting on September 11th and the special meeting September 20th, 2018. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that motion carries. The consent agenda is before the council, and all items with an asterisk are considered to be routine by the city council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered separately in its normal sequence on the agenda. Is there anyone in the audience or anyone on the council that wishes to add or remove an item from the consent agenda as it's printed? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the consent agenda as printed. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. There are several people here that I intend to move their item up on the agenda, but we have some public hearings that we have to take care of. And before that, we have a new police officer that we're going to welcome into the folds tonight. So at this time, I'd like to ask Chief Todd and Michael Heineke to come forward, please.
Yes, I am. Just raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Michael Heineke. Promise that I will humbly serve. All residents. With a response to their crisis. With compassion. Sincerity and concern. Patience, kindness, and respect. I promise that I will at all times. Conduct myself in a manner that reflects positively on the Detroit Lakes Police Department and the City of Detroit Lakes. Finally, I promise to follow the policies of the Detroit Lakes Police Department, uphold the laws of our state and nation, and the ordinances of the City of Detroit Lakes, and that I will faithfully discharge my duties to the best of my ability, so help me God. Thank you. Want to introduce any family or friends here?
Sure. Back in the corner, I've got my parents, Rick and Nora, who live in Fort Minnesota, and my girlfriend, who got to meet them to Burtis, Minnesota. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
At this time, I'll adjourn the regular meeting and call to order a public hearing to give consideration to the establishment of redevelopment project number 39, the redevelopment plan and establishment of tax increment financing district 39-1 for Accessories Unlimited. And I would call on city staff. Larry, do you want to address this one?
Sure. This is a project for Accessories Unlimited. They will construct a 14,888 square foot manufacturing facility. The total project cost is $1.1 million. They will be adding 25 new jobs to our market, our labor market. And we will be providing $87,500 in tax increment financing if this is approved.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience or any member of the council that has any questions about the project? Is there anyone in the audience that has any comments they'd like to make? Hearing none, this public hearing is closed, and I would entertain a motion from the council.
I so move.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded to adopt a resolution establishing redevelopment project number 39 and approving the redevelopment plan therefore and establishing a tax increment financing district 39-1 and approving the tax increment financing plan therefore within the redevelopment project number 39. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. At this time, I'll call to order a public hearing to give consideration to the establishment of redevelopment project number 40, the redevelopment plan and establishment of tax increment financing district 40-1 for Midtown Development. Larry?
The Midtown Development Project is at 1200 or 1210 South Washington Avenue. It's a mixed-use development that will have 10,800 square feet of office and retail space and 30 apartments in a 4-story building. This is a $6 million redevelopment project. Tax increment financing will be provided in the amount of $762,400. This budget also includes $200,000 for public alley improvements. If the city council would decide that they would want to do that in the next 4 to 5 years, then tax increments could be used to help pay for that.
Okay, is there anyone in the audience that wishes to ask any questions or comment on the establishment of redevelopment project number 40 and the redevelopment plan and establishment of tax increment financing district 40-1? Hearing none, that public hearing is closed. I would entertain a motion from the council.
So move. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded by the council to establish redevelopment project number 40, the redevelopment plan and establishment of tax increment financing district 40-1, Midtown Development. Discussion on the motion.
Question. Weren't these businesses already bought and everything was planned before this came up? You know, there's the for TIF plan. I mean, my understanding was that this was going to go through anyway, and then they applied for TIF?
A lot of times, project developers will secure the property before they apply for tax increment financing, and that is one of the things that you can do ahead of the approval. So they typically would like to get that sewed up before they start making any expenditures as far as trying to get approval for their project. So that's not atypical. I suppose if we would decline the tax increment, they would do something else with the property and not this particular project.
Further questions by the council? We have a motion and a second on the table. Further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. At this time, I will call to order, I'm going to find my place here. I will call to order a public hearing to receive public comment. Am I on 4D? Yes. Okay, thank you. To receive public comment on the alleged nuisance at 605 Willow Street West. And I would call on Priscilla to bring us up to date on that situation.
Hello. August 20th, I sent a letter to 605 Willow Street West. Their property address is listed in New Mexico. I sent a certified letter and a regular post letter. The certified letter came back, but the regular post letter did not. I also posted the letter on the actual door of the property. I have not heard from the property owner. There's been no correspondence to let me know that they were in the process of doing anything. So since since August 20th, there hasn't been any progress on the property. The deadline of October 1st was given. The property is not in compliance with the property maintenance city code. So the city staff recommendation is to proceed with prosecution.
So what would we do with something like that? I mean, is it,
So instead of hiring a contractor to
Right.
bring it up to code, the city attorney or the prosecutor would contact the property owner to bring it up to code, or they would be prosecuted until that was brought up to code, is what I understand. Correct, Charlie?
Yeah, what you were doing is, in the available means of addressing these problems. Okay? What this proposal would be, you would refer this for prosecution of the owners, so they would be charged with a crime. And may be charged with multiple crimes, actually, because it's a crime each day that this situation exists. And assuming we can get jurisdiction over these folks, then typically in that situation, it gives us some leverage to get them to clean up the property without the city paying the expense. The alternate method that we use sometimes is to abate the nuisance. We've heard that, it's a different set of language. What that means is that the city actually goes in and spends money cleaning up the property. And then tries to recoup that money typically through the assessment rules, special assessment with taxes. And in some instances, there's also a third process where the building is hazardous. What constitutes a hazardous building in many different ways, but one of the most obvious is that it's not secure from vandals or other, it's falling down where it's going to be dangerous to persons around. And I think Priscilla has made the determination that this is not a building that is a danger to people around it, but that it does, she believes, violates the building maintenance code. It certainly looks that way to me. And so that's the method of enforcement that is being recommended by the Board of Enforcement.
So is there a scenario where the house can be demolished?
This process is not a process by which the city takes control of the property itself. So the city wouldn't be demolishing it under this process. Okay? The city wouldn't be fixing it under this process. The city would be prosecuting the owners for crimes which are violations of the building.
Okay, is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak to the issue of the alleged nuisance at 605 Willow Street West? Hearing none, that public hearing is closed, and I would entertain a motion by the council.
I would make a motion that we refer this matter for prosecution at 605 Willow Street West, Gregory and Terry Davis.
A motion has been made and seconded to refer the matter for prosecution, the matter being the alleged nuisance at 605 Willow Street West. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. At this time, I'll call to order a public hearing to receive public comment on the alleged nuisance at 1103 Roosevelt Avenue. Again, I would call on our
That one's been cleaned up.
code, pardon?
That one's been cleaned up, so we can...
Oh.
They brought their property into compliance, so we were able to remove that from the public hearing list.
So you speeded up the meeting tonight. Good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Without objection by the council, there are a number of folks here that have items that I promised them I would try to move up so that they get out here a little earlier and get ready for the snow that's coming tonight. So, at this time, I would like to go to item 6A, and that's on the Public Works Committee, Chairman Sherman. Jay?
Dave Harmon with the DLCCC would like to appear before us tonight to kind of give us a recap on the summer rec program. Ladies and gentlemen, Dave Harmon.
Hi, Dave.
Hello. I just been asked to do a quick report on our recreational program. And I shared with a couple of the boards already, is that the city of DL has something that is very unique, and it's very special for the parents and the kids. We run a rec program down by the park, by the tennis courts, and it's basically 8-year-olds to 13-year-olds that come from 9 to 12 and 1 to 4, and it is absolutely free for the parents. We have supervised games and everything for the kids. The kids can ride their bikes there. They actually can come and go as they please. One of the things that's really special about this is that every year in my position, I'll get calls from people that are moving into town, wondering what they can do with their kids, who can watch their kids and everything like that. And so first thing I do is ask them what their age is, and if they fit in this area, that they can utilize the rec. I explain to them that, well, we have this program down in the city where your kids can come. We have games for them. We have college kids that play with them and organize things, and they can come from this time to this time. And of course, the first question they always ask is, well, how much is that going to cost me? And for as long as I can remember, and I don't have exact years for you, but I've asked around, it has been free for the kids to come to. And I've asked other communities, and they just cannot believe that we do this. And it is just a wonderful program for the kids that we provide. As you see, I have an attendance inside, and that's what we do. When we take attendance, we take the attendance in the morning and the afternoon. So a lot of times it might be the same kids that come in the morning and the afternoon. When you go throughout the summer, when you see lesser numbers at the end of the summer, it's because of camps, youth camps, Bible camps. And of course, even though we live in the Lakes area, our people here in town like to leave town too, and usually that's toward the end of August. But along with that rec program, the recreational program, the DL that I run, that was handed over to us from the city, is also all the youth baseball programs, so Little League, Major League, minor leagues, girls softball. We also run tennis lessons, and I also have the privilege of doing the adult sports too for the rec program. So during the summer, we run co-ed adult softball, women's softball, and men's softball. And all these programs in our city are doing very, very well. They stay pretty steady all the time. Adult softball is one program that in cities around us are losing numbers, and we seem to stay pretty consistent. We also, for the city, I've included a inside sheet that tells you that we have 4 tournaments during the summer. Our big tournament is our water carnival tournament during the time, and we have 40 men's teams and 8 women's teams that come to that, and 2 of those teams are local. So you can know that 46 teams are coming from out of town, and they either stay in our hotels or resorts around or cabin close, and they just absolutely love it in town during this time. And kudos to the city, because they think our water carnival weekend is just unbelievable and awesome. We also run a state tournament at every year. The state's classified A, B, C, or D, and teams come from all throughout Minnesota into the town and play in the state tournament. Last year we had 16 teams, I believe, that came in. And then we have what's called the Canadian tournament. It's a senior tournament, and they've been doing it, I asked, and I believe it's been for 24 years. And they bring 3 to 4 buses from Winnipeg down. There's 12 teams that play in the tournament. 8 of the teams are from Winnipeg. It's quite the sight. The men come in and play all morning, and the women say their goodbyes and get back on the bus, and they go downtown and shop. So it is, the only other thing I have to say is it is amazing. We have amazing parents and amazing kids in this town, and we're very lucky. So if you have any questions for me about the rec program or softball or anything.
Any questions of Dave? Anyone in the audience or council member? I know it's been there a long time. I spent a lot of time there when I was a kid, so it's a great,
So about 20 years?
program, so. What? That was not that many years ago, really.
20 years ago.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank
We
you very
appreciate
much.
all you do. Thank you.
Better get Dave some glasses.
Without objection, by the council, I'd like to go to item 6B. Jay?
All right, 6B, consideration to a request from the DLCCC to pay the rate of $215 for the for the pavilion for the 7th annual Tough Laker event on Sunday, June 30th, 2019. This is the rate that they paid in 2017 and 18. They don't actually use the inside of the pavilion, and they were requesting to pay $215. I think Sally's here, but the Public Works recommends approval, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the request from the DLCCC for a $215 rate for the pavilion rental for the 7th annual Tough Laker event. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Anything you want to add, Sally, or you just came to see if we were going to approve it?
Just came to see if you're going to approve it, basically, but thank you. Yes,
Okay. You're
yeah,
welcome.
The city does a lot of stuff for me during that weekend, so I just want to say thank you to Matt.
Okay.
It was awesome last year, so it was phenomenal.
Thank you.
That's for more, so.
Okay, good night, thanks. Without objection, I'd like to move to item 5C. Ron?
Okay, 5C is a consideration of the resolution approving a variance to allow expansion of the building with a 1,000 square foot of addition and a removal parking lot area to maintain a 63.71% impervious surface coverage, 29-041.71 square feet or less at 1306 Highway 10 East, Casey's General Store. That's the resolution the committee recommends, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve a resolution approving a variance to allow an expansion of the building at 1306 Highway 10 East, Casey's General Store. Is there a discussion on the motion? Jay?
I have a neighbor that wanted to make sure that, they're obviously adding a lot of square footage here. Are they going to do anything as far as landscaping to kind of cover up the extra, was that part of the conclusion?
I think I'll refer to Larry on that.
That was not part of the Planning Commission's recommendations. The one thing that they did discuss was the lighting there, and they want to make sure that all of the lighting is hooded and directed so that it doesn't shine into the neighbors. That was the only issue that was raised at the hearing.
Larry, could you read the conditions, just so Jay knows, because I think they're not adding that.
Yeah, I can.
Oh, it is things?
Yeah, maybe just read the conditions.
Sure. Just have to get to the right one. Okay. The conditions that are included are that the project meet all parking requirements and that the property not exceed 29,041.71 square feet or 63.7% impervious surface coverage,
Which is the same as they have.
which is exactly what they had before.
Further questions or discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Without objection, I would like to go to item 5E, which is the Highland Estates plat.
Okay, this is consideration of the resolution approving the preliminary plat approval of Highland Estates, 1335 Highland Drive. The committee recommends, and I so move.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve a resolution approving the preliminary plat of Highland Estates at 1335 Highland Drive. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that motion carries.
5D.
Yep, 5D is going to be next. Go ahead.
Okay, 5D is consideration of resolution approving the variance to allow a 4-foot side yard setback.
What's that?
And a 30.26% impervious surface, 11,723 square feet to demolish an existing house, construct a new house on the same foundation, a new garage, and a driveway at 509.5 North Shore Drive. Ryan and Chelsea Mankey, the committee recommends, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt a resolution approving a variance for a new home and garage and driveway at 509.5 North Shore Drive. Discussion on the motion?
I'd just like to point out, make these guys an example that they're tearing down, replacing what they have, but also reducing the impervious surface they have. So we're working toward the betterment of the lake. Thank you.
Okay, further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that motion carries. Is there anyone else that I missed that would like an item moved? Okay, if not, we'll go right back to where to the beginning, I guess. So, will be on the Community Development Committee agenda, and Chairman Zeman.
Okay, item 5A, this is discussion for the joint airport zoning board, JASB. We're going to have a meeting coming up with the township and city council and county board members. And Kelsey, maybe you want to give a little recap on that?
That's exactly right. Alderman Zeman kind of covered it. We have an informational meeting coming up on Wednesday, October 24th at 5 o'clock right here in the city council chambers. Again, we invited basically the jurisdictions that are impacted by that zoning, the airport zoning. So that'd be 3 townships, county and city, and also members of the airport commission. We'll just explain what the JASB is, the Joint Airport Zoning Board, talk a little bit about the process and how we're moving forward.
Okay, next item would be 5B, consideration of the first reading ordinance number 433, rezoning Washington Avenue from Frazee Street to Forest Street from a B3 auto-oriented business district to an RM multifamily resident district to a B1 central business district. The committee recommends, and I so move.
Motion has been made and seconded to adopt an ordinance rezoning the, I guess, quite a large area from Willow Street down to, how far down to?
Forest.
The forest, to a, from B3 to RM.
From B3 and RM to B1.
Again, because I got
B3 auto-oriented business district and RM multifamily district resident to a B1 central business district. In a B3 is basically a 3-story building, and B1 is a 4-story building, and maybe Larry can give us, shed more light on this if you want more information. Larry, do you want to give us more information on that?
Well, essentially, the Planning Commission looked at this because they received a request from Midtown Development for rezoning a part of that, and they thought they should look at the broader area and see what should be done. And so, in looking at Washington Avenue, they felt that a B1 zoning would be more appropriate because it would allow buildings to be built up close to the sidewalk like the downtown area does. It would restrict billboards and gas stations, and it would also allow residential uses in the upper stories. So it just seemed to be a good fit for that area, and the Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval.
So what I meant to say is we're rezoning from B3 and RM to B1.
Yes, very well said. Easy for you to say.
How high are the
Further
buildings?
discussion on the, we have a motion a second, right?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Byron, sorry.
How high, much higher?
In the B3 district, you're allowed 3-story buildings. In the B1, you can go to 4 stories. So you're adding 1 story higher.
Further discussion.
Yeah, just to enhance a little bit what Larry said, actually, this comes out of the Planning Commission, and some of you may have sat in some of the meetings about a year ago at the Planning Commission and looked at updating the land use map for the city of Detroit Lakes. As we did that, there'll be other areas that hopefully encourage staff and council to look at, and where these residential and commercial are coming together to give people some idea that this is the plan for the future, so that, you know, we can maybe avoid some of the conflicts as people come forward.
Well put. Further discussion. Go ahead, Jamie.
I thought we discussed yesterday until the other piece of the project, CDC.
I don't remember that, Jamie.
I thought we talked about deferring the TIF vote,
Yes.
but that,
Further discussion.
Can we instead defer the rezoning? And I say this because, you know, it kind of trickles out sometimes, and we know that, you know, it is sensitive to put a 60-foot building and right next to an area that's residential, and it just gives us a little more time, I think, you know, to deal with the requests. We know, for example, that there are some homeless requests coming. I don't know exactly what it would be, but I would say we suspect that there are some homeless requests coming.
I would note that the ordinance requires 2 readings, so if you had first reading now, the second reading would come at the same time as the variance requests are coming before you.
Yeah, I was going to mention, Jamie, this is the first reading, so there's going to be be another bite at the apple, if you will. The other thing is, all the folks around this area were notified by letter
Correct,
of the planning commission meetings and stuff like that.
correct. And we had one person that attended that did not object, that just wanted to hear what was going on.
I'm not really arguing with Jamie, I'm just saying, I think most people know that this is kind of coming. So, anyway. Matt, did you have something?
Yeah, it was interesting to point out, yesterday we talked about the landscape and screening, and that would be the exact same as B3 as it would B1. So I know that was a talking point to the CDC, that no matter which way we go, the screening, the landscape would all stay the same.
But didn't you just say that the buildings could be closer to the street or something?
The buildings could be closer to the property lines, but that would be the only difference between the B1 and the B3.
Further discussion. We have a motion and a second on the table to give first reading to rezoning this area. Further discussion?
Not exact, not necessarily, couldn't get close to the project or anything like that. I just think that when we approve things kind of one bit at a time, it gives the feeling that it's all a done deal. And it wasn't all a done deal when you consider the whole project. And I should have said that.
Okay. Bruce?
Just, understand what Jamie's saying, because we talked about the TIF was before the rezoning, blah, blah, blah. But I would tell you, Jamie, in my opinion, ignoring this project, that's what I was trying to talk about with the planning commission. This area should be rezoned to B1, irregardless of whether there's a project going in or not. And that's kind of where I was trying to say, I think the planning commission, I give kudos to them and our staff, we want to be proactive in doing this. And so irregardless of any project there, to me, this should be B1 anyway.
Further discussion.
Well, and virtually from the M&H intersection and going down toward the lake, what would he say, there's like only one residential house left in that area now?
Yes.
It's becoming more and more business all the time with clinics and insurance offices, investment offices, CP offices. It is a true business district, so it's kind of, give it the proper zoning.
Would you say CPA offices? Who is that? Let's get some advertising.
So this would give the Midtown group that we gave this tip to, they can build 4-story buildings down the...
Correct.
Further discussion.
Well, we're talking this TIP, originally they were looking for a 25-year TIP, and it's been brought down to approximately a 15-year TIP, and they're looking twice the amount of money in the TIP, and it's down to $760,000. So it was worked down to be fair for everybody, and we felt the development authority felt that they needed that TIP in order to get this property cleaned up and get it to be a usable property again. So that's all it came from that.
Further discussion. Okay, this is to give first reading. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
The motion carries. And first reading is given to ordinance 433, rezoning Washington Avenue from Crazy Forest from B3 and RM to B1. Okay, go on. We're at here. To the end of 60. We're at the Public Works Committee. Jake.
Item C, consideration to waiving the rental fee at Long Lake Park for the Detroit Lakes Eagles for all future events. We had a little discussion, a couple of members of the Eagles were there to discuss what to do. They donated the shelter, kitchen, and bathroom facilities, and so they felt like they should be exempt from paying a rental fee. We decided to not just grant them unconditional, time frame. So what the Public Works recommends doing is allowing the Eagles use of the facilities for no charge for the next 4 years, as they donated all of those facilities there. So Public Works recommends approval of that, and I so move.
Second.
It's been made and seconded to waive the rental fee at Long Lake Park for the Detroit Lakes Eagles for all future events for the next 4 years. Discussion on the motion?
I just want to say that we want to be fair to all service-type organizations, volunteer groups, and we had a policy in place that we said everybody's going to have to pay it. But the Eagles had a good point on this. They did give a donation of $49,000 to do all the improvement out there at Long Lake at that park site. And so they contributed a lot. They did not only financially, but also volunteer-wise for their members. And we're not talking a huge, we had a $100 fee allowance down there for them. So we're going to give up $100 in the next 4 years. So it's not like we're giving the farm away, but they did give a large contribution. So we felt to be fair with them. That was the way to do it, because we want to be fair with all these service clubs, and because everybody asks to have free use of these buildings, but there is a cost every time we have something going on, because we have to have city staff come in and clean up, set up, so forth on it. So, but that's the reason why we did it this time. We made an exception, and we do that once in a while, but we don't want to make the rule, because we do have fees set so that we can cover the expenses for the taxpayer. So that's the reason why we did this.
Thank you, Ron. Matt?
How many times they use the shelter?
Once a year.
Once a year.
I feel like this is a bad practice. I mean, service clubs are great, but I don't go out to the mountain and I donate to that, or whoever donated that, and get a free ski lift. Makes me a little bit nervous. This could turn into a slippery slope.
Well, I get that, but they did donate, they donated to the facilities that are being utilized by other people renting it.
100%
and so.
Nope, 100% agree. I'm just saying.
And they use it once a year, and so it's $100 times 4.
Yep, just to.
You could always ask, Matt.
I was just curious,
Further discussion.
Mayor, so just a point of clarification, Matt, I think that was part of the discussion. I think it's more than once a year, but that's irrelevant. I think the issue was we didn't want to go unlimited, right? So
yes.
We want to have future councils be able to come back and revisit the issue in a timely manner, so that, 4 years from now, there may be a different feeling on the council.
And I think that's a great compromise.
Further, Brad, do you have something?
If I could just comment, the park board has been looking at this, the donation issues and making things like that. And that is one of the things in our legal council discussion, that the park board is regulated, kind of like turbulence on it. There's a sunset clause in there, and that's why the public works went to the 4 years, because somewhere, with all the donations we get, can't be given stuff for free, and we all know that it's very more complicated about that, so the country may need to try and keep things going, and donations that high. And so that means we get it, we can't get it, so it's reasonable, I think, to have that turbulence on there, so it sunsets, and then
Okay, further discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Jay?
Okay, item D, we had a discussion regarding setting a date for a public informational meeting relative to the proposed improvements along Westlake Drive, County Road 6 to the Pelican River. It looks, I know we were looking at October 29th or November 8th. Have we shored up a date on that, Kelsey?
We really haven't. We were hoping to get some feedback on when the county would maybe prefer to have that. Right now I'm leaning more towards that 29th. Alderman Imholt also suggested we have that special council meeting planned for the 30th. Do we have it a little bit later that day? Maybe that's another option too.
Yeah,
so
I can't make the 29th, but that's.
So Kelsey, if we have this informational meeting, which it sounds like we're going to, is that something where we do still send out notices to the property owners, or do we just put it in the paper, or do we
we've done
notify?
both.
Both?
We've done both, yeah.
So you'll let us know when this would be then?
Yeah, if you're okay with just giving staff the ability to just go set that informational meeting, we still would like to get the county's feedback on it if we can, so.
I was going to say that I'm hoping we can get together with the county, because this is that area of houses there. They've had some sanitary sewer problems with their sewage in their homes, and they've got a couple of seasons now with this, and they like to get this going so we don't have that mess again next summer. So I'm hoping we can get the county together on this.
Very good. There's no action on J, right?
Item E, consideration to a resolution accepting the preliminary engineering report and setting a public hearing for the proposed improvements to West Avenue and Willow Street. Kelsey, do you want to speak to this one?
Actually, the council had approved a version of this a while back as a facility plan that we use to submit for funding to the PFA, which we are on the PFA funding list, which is helpful. We're expecting maybe we can at least get a loan from them. But the next step is basically this resolution that adopts it as a PER that follows our 429 statute, approving the PER and then setting the improvement hearing for next month.
Okay, but earlier, we did have the preliminary engineering report presented to the council, correct?
We did.
Yeah.
So there will be an improvement hearing in November, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So Public Works recommends approval, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve a resolution accepting a preliminary engineering report, again, and setting a public hearing for the proposed improvements to West Avenue and Willow Street. And that public hearing is scheduled for sometime in November, or do you have a date?
Yeah, it's the November council meeting.
Council meeting, okay.
Mayor and council, just to clarify again, we've had an informational meeting on West Avenue and Willow Street to reconstruct project. But again, for this improvement hearing, again, we'll get notices mailed out to all the property owners and it'll be in the paper.
Okay, thank you. Did we vote? No. All in favor of the motion? Oh, I'm sorry. No. We didn't have any discussion either, did we? All right.
So can we talk about the changes on McKinley and Lincoln?
Sure. At McKinley and Lincoln. Okay, I'm sorry.
I think you were thinking about stop signs and
Correct, I mean,
turn lanes and...
at Lincoln, one of the proposed changes, and certainly that's something that will be discussed publicly at the improvement as well. But, right now, we're suggesting we remove the stop, the three-way stop. Lincoln, we'll just leave the stop condition on it. Since there's been a number of changes that occurred there over the course of time. The school used to have a four-way intersection there, it's no longer a four-way. A number of other things, so we're suggesting we remove that stop sign. And then at McKinley, we're proposing a left turn lane that would be incorporated into the roadway, just because there is a fair amount of traffic that actually turns off of Willow and goes up McKinley at this point, because that's a direct shot to Howard Texas. So, along with those changes, the other substantive ones, there are some turn lanes we're going to try to squeeze into that Willow and Roosevelt intersection.
Okay. Further questions, Jamie?
So comments on that, is that better after the hearing or by us, I mean by council?
From council, by all means, talk to staff. If we haven't talked about it at the committee meeting, yeah.
Ultimately, the council has to approve the plan at some point this way.
Yep. And we went through all those proposed changes at the informational meeting. Again, that was an optional thing too, but again, we had a lot of good feedback about a lot of things, but again, we'll present that again at the improvement hearing.
Those will be some of the things that I'll have to be key points in the presentation, those changes. So.
Will that conclude your questions there for now?
For now.
Okay, Bruce?
Well, actually, I'm glad she brought that up, but I'm glad to hear about the left turn on McKinley. But have you thought about what are you going to do at Roosevelt? Are you going to have any left turn?
Yeah, we're going to build in left turns the best we can there.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Further discussion, questions? Our action is to accept the preliminary engineering report instead of public hearing for the proposed improvements to West Avenue and Willow Street, which will be at our November council meeting. Further discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item F could be a pretty exciting one. Consideration to accepting the proposal from SRF Consulting Group Incorporated in the amount of $12,500 for professional services for the quiet zone assessment along the CP Railroad. Step one is ordering this assessment to determine whether or not we could go whistle-free. Is that what I'm understanding, Kelsey?
Correct.
So Public Works definitely recommends approval, and I so move.
Second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept the proposal from SRF Consulting to look at and try to figure out if we can do a quiet zone along the CP Railroad and what it would cost if we decided we wanted to pursue this. And the proposal is for $12,500. Discussion on the motion? Bruce?
Yeah, just, we talked about this yesterday, but is this just an expenditure out of the general fund, or is that the plan?
I mentioned we would code it to this capital project fund. It'd be part of the overall project cost.
Okay.
Further discussion?
That was my same question, thanks.
With this, and I don't see this in the scope of the proposal, but is there a way we could address the parking issue on that track as well? So it wouldn't block as many intersections, or is that outside the scope of this?
Simple answer, yes, it's outside the scope of that study, but
We're going to have a lot of communication, hopefully, with CP, with the West Avenue project. Definitely aware that that's an issue.
Okay.
And we will make every attempt possible to try to improve that situation.
So at least it's on our radar is what I'm asking.
Well aware of it.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
We'll see what we can do.
Thank you.
They're a friendly bunch. They bring the holiday train every year and give us a check for a food pantry. So hopefully we can work with them. Further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item G, consideration to a resolution setting a supplemental improvement hearing at the special city council meeting on October 30th, 2018 at 5 p.m. for the County Road 131 sanitary sewer and water main improvement project. Do you need to speak to this, or should I just recommend approval?
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. The only question I would have is, what is a supplemental improvement hearing versus an improvement hearing? In 10 words or less.
it's a second improvement hearing.
Okay.
And the importance of this
About
one,
5 words.
we need eight votes, is that correct on this one?
Correct.
So we need to have attendance by just about all the council.
Is everybody going to be okay to be here on the 30th at 5 p.m., to your knowledge, at least for now? Okay. Okay, so the action is to approve a resolution setting a supplemental improvement hearing for the County 131 project on October 30th at 5 p.m. Further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item H, consideration to a resolution declaring cost to be assessed for the Lake Forest 7th Edition Street and Utility Improvement Project and ordering the special assessment roll on the proposed assessments for said project. Public Works recommends approval, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt a resolution declaring cost to be assessed for the Lake Forest 7th Edition Street Utility Improvement Project and ordering the special assessment roll on the proposed assessments for the said project. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
Item I, consideration to a resolution declaring cost to be assessed for the Long Lake Annexation Phase 4 Sanitary Sewer and Water Main Improvement Project, ordering the special assessment roll on the proposed assessment for said project. Public Works recommends approval, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt a resolution declaring cost to be assessed for the Long Lake Annexation Phase 4 Sanitary Sewer and Water Main Improvement Project and ordering the special assessment roll on the proposed assessments for said project. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the...
I've got
Ron?
a question. When we have, the hearing on this for the assessments, is that where we decide as far as how many years these assessments are going to be and as far as what we're going to have as far as deferred assessments into?
Correct. Just let me pause here. Actually, in this resolution, we put the term. We do put a 20-year term on these. We do state that in the resolution.
Further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Anything else, Jay?
That was all, sir.
Okey-doke. Finance Committee, Chairman Winter.
Thank you, Your Honor. We'd like to remove item A from the agenda and put it on next month's agenda. We have some further work to do on this policy.
We will defer action.
Thank you. Item B is considering a resolution amending the Detroit Lakes Fire Department Relief Association's bylaws relative to an increase in retirement benefits. We want to amend the bylaws so that the city provides a lump sum pension payment of $7,300 for each year a fighter serves as an active member of the fire department. It will be effective April 1st, 2019. Finance Committee recommended approval, and I so move.
Second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve a resolution amending the Detroit Lakes Fire Department Relief Association bylaws relative to an increase in retirement benefits. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item D, Your Honor, is proposal, item C is the food pantry lease agreement. Would run for 2 years, January 1st, 2019 through December 31st, 2020. No change on the agreement from previous years. Finance Committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the food pantry lease agreement for the period of 2 years from January 1st, 2019 through December 31st, 2020. Discussion on the motion?
I just want to say that Brad was here and made a presentation, and they're actually kind of running out of space, the building that they have. And so if somebody out in TV land has a building that they would like to lease to the food pantry for next to nothing, Brad would like to talk to you, because they do need the space.
That includes radio land and newspaper land.
There you go.
I was thinking the TV people, but I know that radio and the paper will get it in there too for us.
Good point, thank you.
Sorry, gals.
Further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Now, item D, Your Honor.
Okay.
We have a proposal and request to our request for proposals from DDA Human Resources in the amount of $27,550 for professional services for a job classification and compensation study. Staff reviewed this. They looked over 6 RFPs. The one they're recommending is included in your packets. It does the job. It's comprehensive. Finance Committee looked at it, recommends approval, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept the proposal from DDA Human Resources in the amount of $27,550 for professional services for the job classification and compensation study. Discussion on the motion. Bruce?
Dan, what the expected date of the completion of the study?
I'll have to ask Kelsey. So I think it was 6 months.
6 months is
Yeah,
roughly.
Sure, yep.
So Kelsey, it's going to be to look at all the job classifications and compensation, but you talked a little bit, or there was discussion about having them do new job descriptions as well? Would that
Right.
be part of this, or would that be another step?
That's part of this.
Okay. Further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Item E is consideration to a resolution providing for the issuance and sale of approximately $3,955,000 of general obligation bonds, Series 2018A for the County Road 131, Lake Forest 7th Edition, and Lawn Lake Phase 4 projects, and the wastewater improvements to Randolph Road. Also, that's not listed in item E, but that is listed in the body of the proposal, so, and also other wastewater improvements. So, again, the committee looked at it, figured we built it, we better pay for it, recommended approval, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt a resolution providing for the issuance and sale of approximately $3,955,000 in general obligation bonds for the County 131 project, Lake Forest 7th Edition project, Long Lake Phase 4 project, and some various utility wastewater and sanitary sewer improvements to Randolph Road. Was there some beyond Randolph Road?
Let's see, there was one over on, was it Westlake Drive, Pam?
Long Lake,
Long Lake.
part of our Long Lake project is also going to be paid for by the wastewater.
Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Anything else, Dan?
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Go to the Liquor and the Gambling Control Committee. Jamie?
Item A was discussion only. Item B is also discussion only. Item C is consideration for a resolution opposing the sale of strong beer, spirits, and wine for off-premise consumption at any outlet other than the municipal liquor store. I think this was discussed at the previous meeting. And it has to do with the fact that there's some activity statewide to promote sales in grocery stores and stuff like that. And I'm currently permitted. So the committee recommends approval and I so move.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve a resolution opposing the sale of strong beer, spirits, and wine for off-premise consumption at any outlet other than the municipal liquor store in Detroit Lakes. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Anything else, Jamie?
Mayor? Yeah. I know you just mentioned discussion only, Jamie, on that A. Is that, are they asking for a similar license to what the Lodge in the Lake has? Is that what it is?
Madeline, is there anything from the Public Utilities Commission that should come before the council this evening?
No, I think Vernell will be announcing our new hire for replacement of Scott Gilbertson, probably at the next
Okay.
council meeting.
Great.
And the E2Q plant construction is rolling along right on schedule.
Good to hear. Okay, there's a few one city administration item, and that would be to consider a resolution providing for the conduct of the general election on November 6, 2018, designating the election judges and setting the hourly rate of pay. So I would entertain a resolution to that effect.
So move.
Second.
Second. I thought I was going to die for lack of a second. Motion's been made and seconded to adopt a resolution providing for the conduct of the general election on November 6, 2018, designating the election judges and setting the hourly rate of pay. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. I only have one recommendation tonight for our advisory boards, and that is to appoint Jim Sinclair Jr. to the Police Civil Service Commission. Jim has agreed to take that position on. I would recommend approval.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve James Sinclair Jr. to the Police Civil Service Commission. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. We do need, and Brad did mention this, Brad, when he was here for the food pantry lease today, we do need a council person to be a member of the food pantry board, and that meets once every 2 months, and they're not long meetings, so if anybody would please step up to the plate, I would sure appreciate it. Do I have the power to appoint somebody and make them do it?
I will do it. I will do it.
You'll do it? Thank you.
Ron's breathing a big sigh of relief.
I'd still like to know the answer to that question.
I would defer to you.
I appreciate it, thank you.
I could help you if you can't get this up.
Go ahead.
All right. Well, Brad will be very happy, so thank you.
Yeah.
Some information announcements. Tomorrow night at 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., we have our annual fire department open house. Right, Chief?
Yep, it's all set. It's only for all right now.
And rain or shine, snow or whatever?
Got shovels.
Also, the Detroit Lakes are on October 23rd, 2018, from 11:30 to 1:30, and again from 4:30 to 6:30. We're going to have another open house at the Detroit Lakes Police Department, so folks can come in and see the current layout and deficiencies of our existing police department, and we can give them a tour during those various hours, and we'll have some coffee and cookies for people who want to come in. Please note the date and time changes for the November committee meetings due to the Veterans Day holiday. The 2018 Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities Fall Conference is November 15th and 16th in Alexandria. If you would like to attend, please contact Glory. And also, there will be the public discussion on the 2019 budget and tax levy pursuant to the truth and taxation requirements, and that will take place at our city council meeting on December 11th, and we'll pursue that matter at 6:01 PM, which is a state law, I guess, right? Is there anyone else in the audience that has anything that should come before the council? Any city staff items?
I just
Lori?
really want to remind everybody of the Apex Townhouse open groundbreaking. You should each have a flyer on your chair, and that's going to be October 17th at 1 p.m.
And I'm going to be there.
You are, the mayor's going to see.
I'll start over with Dan. Do you have anything else, Dan?
Nothing else, Your Honor.
Madeline?
Nothing, no.
Dan? Jamie?
I see that we have a planning commission opening coming up, and right now we have almost all Ward 3 members on the planning commission, so.
Really? I didn't know that.
I think we should branch
Spread it
out
out?
to Ward 2 and Ward 1, so I'm hoping we can find somebody.
You know, actually, both Susan and Clayton Schott have things going on in their lives where they may not be able to be on here to be reappointed, so we may have, you know, are those the two you're talking about?
Yeah, I was thinking Clayton was not eligible, but he is, okay.
But
I didn't want to.
but they may not be able to serve, so you're on the right track. And thank you for being on the food pantry board. Appreciate that. Matt? No, sir. Ron?
I just want to say to the taxpayers that on the ballot in November, on November 6th, we're going to have a proposal for a half-cent sales tax to help pay for a brand-new police department. And I urge the taxpayers to get all the information they need on this, because we do need a police department, and it's how we're going to pay for it, whether you want to have it put on your property tax, whether you're a homeowner or a business owner, or whether you like to have it put on with a sales tax. And we found out that if we do a sales tax, Department of Revenue for Minnesota, we will receive approximately about $900,000 a year. And that would mean that we could probably pay this building off maybe as fast as 8 years. We're saying on the ballot it would take 9 to 10 years. We think it could pay it off faster. But I just hope that you will get all the information about this, so that you can vote properly on this and make the right decision. But we hope that you will say yes, and that it'll be the best way to help pay for this department. And it is something as well needed. We're going to have these open houses. Go to the police department anytime. The police chief or staff that's there will be glad to take you through and show you what our present situation looks like. But it's well needed, and it's the building is completely worn out, and it's time to replace it. So please give consideration to a yes vote on November 6th.
Also, for the press and the public, on our city website, there's a very good informational piece that you can access, frequently asked questions about, you know, why we need a new building and you know, things like that, why we're choosing a sales tax as a proposed mechanism for funding. So you can look at that on their website. Jay?
Well said, Ron. Nothing further.
Okay. Barb? Bruce? Okay. The business of this council has come to a conclusion. The meeting's adjourned.